All right, so start off with number one. Let's talk about vampires, right? We have cults in America that worship Satan, drink blood, own towns, Hollywood, politicians, trafficking humans, and run the military. Okay, those are the vampires we have in real life. Okay, they're into the Satanism, they're into magic. Okay, um, we don't have to watch Sinners. Okay, um, the vampire thing. That's what we face with. Okay, we have them in Hollywood pushing out movies with the occult. We have politicians that they control, and they make wars, propaganda, lies to get men and women into the military. They have churches, even churches, who are not filled with pastors who are not really pastors. They're Freemasons, and they spew out the propaganda that is needed, okay, to fulfill the military industrial complex, which is based off greed and destroying the lives of others overseas and controlling puppet governments to do whatever sick desires they have. Okay. All right. All in the name of Satan. Okay. We have black people who pose as Christian leaders or just civil rights leaders, period. Okay. But work for the devil. Okay. Who are invited into our homes through TV or buying media through social media. Okay. And this has been happening, for a long time. Okay. You could say that, the vampires are basically, how through folklore and through literature, vampires look like human beings, and you got to invite them in. Otherwise, they can't come in. Some, according to some novels, according to some books. And that's the way it is. Okay. When you have with these civil rights leaders who are really for white supremacy. Okay. Which really is Satanism. Okay. And they came through our homes through TV, through you know other forms of media of that time, through the newspaper, through radio, through listening to the radio and hearing them speak. And we could show with Martin Luther King, who played the part of a Christian. Okay, what does the Bible say? Satan masquerades his minions, masquerade as angels of light. Martin Luther King disguised himself as a Christian when he really wasn't. He was Boule. He was a communist. He was a humanist. If you read his writings, you will see that he was really um, just a person who just saw that Jesus Christ was just Christianity was just another cult back in the days of Greece and Rome. Okay, he believed in humanism and the human spirit. Okay, all right, and he worked for communists. Okay, the Boule to bring black people, all right, into a burning house. Okay, before Martin Luther King came on the scene, blacks already had their own businesses, their own buses and bus routes. Okay, but Martin Luther King, through him, blacks were integrated into a burning house. Okay, they lost all of that, and like vampires, okay, with him, all right, blacks let him in, and they followed him, and he sucked the entrepreneurship right out of them. Okay, and they were assimilated into the white racist dominant society. Okay, this is what happened. Okay, and Martin Luther King was made into almost a god to many black people. Okay, that if you dare tell the truth about him, you'll be met with fierce opposition. And who else is also met with fierce? Who else is looked up as a god? Okay, to black Americans in this country, Barack Obama. Okay, with his views on abortion, views on homosexuality, even trying to bring that to Kenya, and the Kenyan president shut him down with that. Okay, so in that, Satan used um, figures like Martin Luther King. All right. Satan also used figures like Malcolm X, okay, who was, even though, he talked about independence from, white supremacy, okay, he also was leading blacks away, all right, from Christianity to a demonic faith called Islam, okay. And basically, Islam is Satanism, okay. Uh, a lot. If you search the Quran and the Hadiths, you see that Allah says He's the greatest of deceivers. He also, according to Islam, also that the image of Satan is the black man. All right, and the black woman is like unto a pandemic. Okay, so you see these things. Okay, and we couldn't have Malcolm X without a great Elijah Muhammad, who brought Islam to black people. Okay, during the civil rights era. And he brought Black Islam, which was really a splinter group from the pure Islam, which is the Islam that was created by Arabs. Many blacks don't know this, but Islam is an Arab supremacist religion. Okay, they do not look at blacks favorably. They are still selling blacks in the Middle East under the teachings of Muhammad. Muhammad called black people raisin heads. Okay, he was the inspiration for the Arab slave trade. Okay, many blacks got duped into following Islam and following Elijah Muhammad. Okay, who presented a false god. Okay, a lot of blacks don't understand that Black Islam is not real Islam. It's just a splinter group. It's kind of like feminism was created for white women. Okay, but black women wanted to use black feminism, which really has no power, so they have to stay attached to white feminism because that's the originator of feminism. Okay, which really was not for the creation of women, all women being equal, just the white women being equal to white men. Okay, and you can see with that the vampirism. Okay, showing yourself to be you try to be friendly, and then as soon as you get in to that person's life, you suck that person's life away from them. And in some cases, brainwash them, and you have them doing the same thing, like an infection, like a bite. Okay. All right. The civil rights movement, you could look at that as well. The civil rights movement started with Martin Luther King. Okay, Boule, all right, Freemason, Boule. They work basically for white supremacy. They're just the black version of Skull and Bones. Okay. And they were just ushering in, all right, sorry for that. They were just ushering in, okay, a form of slavery for black people that would push them down. Okay. That's what it was. Just a new way of worshiping their black skin. Okay, that's what it would end up being. You took away the independence that black people had through having their own buses, their towns, their schools, everything, through following a movement that just meant to have them enslaved, just with different types of shackles and chains. Okay, all right. Even the crime bill. Okay, blacks came to Bill Clinton and Joe Biden, okay, for help with their troubled cities. And what happened? Republicans came in, asked for a favor from the Democrats because they wanted to profit from the prisons that they invested in. And what do you have? The crime bill. So as you can see how the devil was working. All right, and that was a two-party corrupt system that worked to oppress black people. Christians don't have no business in politics, going for the Republican or the Democrat, because both are anti-God and are against their fellow man. Okay, we can look at the entertainment industry, how they are vampires. Okay, music execs, and I just went with the crime bill, and the prison industry made a deal. The music execs would use their musicians, their rappers, to spew poison music to at-risk youth, to get the youth that have broken homes, to get them to warp their minds, commit crimes, and fill up their prisons. Okay, and if you dare talk about it, you'll have these entertainers saying you are not for the people, you're not for the struggle, power to the people, all this nonsense. All right. Do you ever notice most of the music now, it is just about killing, stealing, sleeping with someone's girl, framing somebody, selling drugs and stuff like that. You don't hear anything about R&B. Even R&B was perverted, but you don't even hear about R&B anymore. It's all a mission to just get to dumb down society, to dumb down especially marginalized communities, to get them to commit crime, get them away from the church. Even have this Christian rap, Christian hip hop. All right. So that even deeper with that. So even though you may leave the secular music, you're still attached to it in some way, shape, or form, because now you just have the part that this looks like the bubblegum version. It looks like the healthy version, but it's really just, artificial flavoring. It's still going to kill you spiritually. The Hollywood industry produces movies and TV series, creating series of gangster movies or movies with that promote degeneracy, homosexuality, lesbianism, selling drugs, and saying it's the man is keeping us down, so that a cop is on the take, and that justifies selling drugs in the hood. All right. Notice also that the black community is always the hood. It's always the hood. You never have any of these affluent, rich black communities that they show. There's nothing really any positive family programs on anymore. Notice that a lot. You notice that they took away all the positive family programming and put up programming that goes against patriarchy, goes against family values. All right. It's now just a minstrel show. Now we have the church, okay, what Ryan Coogler was talking about. Many people were talking about. That's basically what we have. Okay, is basically what Christians have dealt with. Okay, you've always had sheep versus goats. You always had the sheep versus the enemies of the cross, the ones that will bear the cross, the ones that are against the cross. All right. You had the disciples, fruits of the spirit, Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 to 23, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, versus the tares, enemies of the cross, fruits of the flesh, greed, wrath, violence, lies, deceit, etc. All right. And you would always have this. You would always have this contention. We don't need to see sinners. We're dealing with this in real life. Okay, you will have those that don't want to let go of hoodoo, don't want to let go of voodoo, don't want to let go of Santeria, anything, okay, that gave them instant gratification. Okay, anything that had them, that they felt like they had control over their lives. When in reality, they didn't. Okay, it's only for a short period of time. Okay, these people were in the church. Okay, they're among the assembly. Okay, church is not a building, it's the people, but they're an assembly. And you would have these people in the midst. Some of these people would end up becoming leaders in positions of power within the church and will say things that are complete nonsense. Okay, they would join fraternities, Freemasonry, all this type of stuff. All right. Now, Sammy, he was a character, part of the church. He was a preacher's kid who rebels due to the callous nature of his hypocrite, of harsh hypocrite Christians. You know how Hollywood will portray Christians, okay? And unfortunately, that is due to the behaviors of Christians that they've experienced in life. Okay, it's not like they just got that material out of thin air. They have interacted with Christians. Some of these people came from Christian homes and they saw hypocrisy and were traumatized at by, traumatized by hypocritical Christians. All right. Um, Now the thing is with Sammy, Sammy was trying to mess around with a married woman. Okay. Unfortunately, that is something that happens in the church. Okay. And sad to say, it's rarely dealt with. It's looked upon that if that, it's okay, especially if that person is liked among the people who go to that particular church, particular fellowship, that is. Okay. And many Christians, who deal with this, okay, I'm sorry, many Christians who are like Sammy, uh, they have a choice either to not get caught up with the world, realize what you've done, and to walk on the straight path. Unfortunately for Sammy, from what I've read, I didn't see the movie, that Sammy chose the lime life. Okay? Sammy chose to live the life on his terms, which is against the Bible. And he met an end that he thought was great. But in reality, he woke up in hell. All right. And basically, the theme of this movie is basically witchcraft is better than the Bible. All right. That is the theme of it. That Christianity is not the way, it doesn't work. Christianity biblically, um, it's not it's about serving Christ, not a church building, not a pastor, not being there for the usher board. It's about serving Christ, having a spiritual relationship with Jesus Christ. Through hell or high water, you're still going to be there with Jesus. Just like if you are married, you know, um, through hell or high water, you both are going to love each other. You both are going to love Jesus. Okay? That is the relationship Christ wants with humans. And very few are willing to endure that. Okay? Um, and unfortunately, in these times, 1930s, Christ would want you to endure racism. Or you could find a way to leave and move to another country where blacks are treated with respect. Um, this is unfortunate. That is the Christian life. Okay, there's a cross to bear. All right, and he does promise eternal life after you die. Okay. Now, unfortunately, as the times have gone, as we see in our present era, um, many people, the way things are going, many people will choose the mark of the beast, as we've seen how many have chosen, um, many have chosen when, between the period of 2019, 2020 to 2023, people chose the magic potion to keep things in this life that they wanted to keep. And that same mindset is going to happen again. All right. Because they want to have life on earth. And that's the theme with the vampires. Okay. They promise you life on earth. Okay. If you just give up, your true Christian roots and you just join the Republican Party, you join the Democrat Party, we promise you will have freedom. Okay. You will have merit. All right. But that is not true. Okay. It is not true. You will face racism, you will face slavery. Compared to following Christ, it may be harsh, but you will be living in the truth. And you will be excluded from hearing, depart from me, when multitudes will be saying, Lord, 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 haven't we done this such and such in your name? Depart from me, I never knew you, worker of iniquity. Okay. Many people are trying to find their own way of living, their own way of living their own life. Okay. Some are doing this due to hardships. And people who practice voodoo, my heart goes out to you. Hoodoo, my heart goes out to you. But the reality is, it's not going to help you at the day of judgment. It's not. I'm black. I know facing racism is tough. It is. All I can say that those who practice racism and hide behind the Bible, their reward is a burning lake of fire. That's all I can tell you. All right. You don't want to join them. You don't want to be with those Klan members. You don't want to be with all these racist people that are going to burn in hell. You don't. And we have a president that is glorifying hate, glorifying it. You don't want to burn with him. You don't want to burn with any of these people who are practicing evil and saying it's good, spewing lies. You don't want to be with them. Yes, being a Christian, it's going to hurt, it's going to suck, and it's a military term, embracing the suck, embracing the hardship of being a Christian. But one day this will all end. Okay. People, and you see in people, most vampire movies, the vampires will promise eternal life, they'll promise that, but it's really eternal death. Jesus is the only one that can bring true healing, make the mind whole, and even the dead live again. However, there is a price to it, living holy and living different from the world, which might cause you to be at odds with friends, society, and family. Okay. Matthew chapter 11, verses 5 to 7, Luke chapter 7, verses 22 to 23, and Luke chapter 7, verses 11 to 17. Okay. You could also Google the fact of, a man's enemies be one of his own household for his namesake. So again, black Christians don't really need to see sinners. We're facing it in real life. Okay? Peace and God bless.